Hello and welcome everyone. Today we are starting a programming language C++ or CPP. Before we write our first line of code, it is very important to understand what C++ actually is, how a CPP program runs, and some basic terms you will use throughout this course. So let's begin. Let's start with the introduction of CPP. CPP is a general-purpose object-oriented programming language developed by Bjarne Stroustrup at Bell's Lab in the year 1979. It is an extension of the C programming language with added support for object-oriented concepts such as classes and objects. CPP supports both procedural programming and object-oriented programming, which makes it a powerful and flexible language. In simple words, CPP takes everything good about C and adds new features on top of it, especially the idea of objects. C++ standards and implementation. A C++ standard is an official specification published by the International Organization for Standardization or ISO, which defines the exact rule syntax and features of languages. Each standard is named after the year it was approved. Some important standards are C++ 98, C++ 11, C++ 14, and so on. An implementation, on the other hand, is the actual compiler software that converts our C++ code into a running program, following the rules given by the standard common implementations are GCC, Clang, and Microsoft Visual C++. Remember, the standard is the rule book and the implementation is the tool that follows those rules. How do C++ program runs? A C++ program goes through several stages before it produces an output. These stages are source code, compiler, object code, linker, and executable file. Flows certain follow, which has source code, which is .cpp file, then compiler, then object code, linker, execution file, which is saved with .exe, and then the output. What is a source code? This is the program written by the programmer in a file with the extension .cpp. Compiler. The compiler checks the source code for errors and translates it into object code, which is in machine-readable form. What is a linker? The linker combines our object code with required libraries file and produces a single executable file. Executable file. It is the final file that actually runs on the computer and gives us the output. Let's start with the basic programming terminology. What is an algorithm? What is a source code? Syntax, keyword, variable, compiler. Algorithm, a step-by-step procedure used to solve a problem. Source code, a set of instructions written by a programmer in a high-level language. Syntax, a set of rules that defines how the code must be written so that it is valid. Keyword, a reserved word that has a fixed, predefined meaning in the language, for example, int or return. What is a variable? A named location in memory used to store data that can change during program execution. And lastly, compiler, a program that translates source code written in a high-level language into a machine code. Now let's write our first CPP program. Look at the structure of a simple C++ program. Hashtag include iostream using namespace std, int main, cout hello world, return 0. Line 1 includes the iostream header file, which allows us to use input and output features. Line 2 tells the compiler to use the standard namespace, so we don't have to write std before every command. The main function is where the execution of every C++ program begins. Inside main, the cout statement prints hello world on the screen and return 0 indicates that the program ended successfully. Let's know about comments in C++. A comment is a line of text in the source code that is ignored by the compiler. Comments are used to explain code and make it easier to read and understand. There are two types of comments in C++. First, single line comment. Second, multi-line comment. Double slash. This is a single line comment. Starting with the slash, start, end with star slash. This is a multi-line comment. A single line comment starts with two forward slashes. Therefore, a multi-line comment starts with a forward slash and asterisk and ends with an asterisk and forward slash. Let's quickly recap C++. What we have studied earlier. C++ is a general-purpose, object-oriented language created by Bjarne in 1979 as an extension of C. A standard definition, the rules of the language like C++ 11 or C++ 17, while an implementation is the compiler that follows those rules. For example, GCC. Third point is a program runs through stages: source code, compiler, object code, linker, and finally an executable file that gives the output. And fourth, we also covered key terms like algorithm, syntax, keyword, and variable. Wrote a first program using cout and main and learned comments, two forward slashes for single line and slash asterisk for multi-line. That's a recap. Next video, variable and data types. See you there. If you like the video, then share it with your friends and subscribe.